had the N-word and predominantly black neighborhood I did. Running for my life I am.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to get everybody welcome to night 2 of WrestleMania 36, live in a secluded training facility in Orlando, Florida. The grandeur of it all. But at least next year we'll be in Hollywood. And I have a specific vendetta with California for some apparent reason. Probably because I'm an East Coast boy. Either way, I think Cali's for pussies. We had, of course, a full card. Liv Morgan faced off against Natalya and kickoff for a certain reason. At least for day one of a kickoff. At least there is an ongoing feud involving Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak, and Sami Zayn's group of Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. So that makes at least some sense. Didn't know the point of this. All I know is Liv Morgan won against the veteran jobber of the women's division, Natalya. And now here we are. NXT Women's Championship to build up the kick off the show. And all I can say is, Jesus Christ, why did that open up the show? The match was okay. The match was fair in Rhea Ripley's device of her just selling the back of her knee. For, of course, foreshadowing of the figurette playing a factor. Incredible screaming. I wish there was a crowd to just mask the screaming part of her trying to sell the fucking back of her knee. No one's that much in particular pain when you sell the knee. No one. Ask Rey Mysterio. I had 7 stitches on my right knee. That's Rey Mysterio. And I see him crying a bit in pain, but at least Rhea Ripley isn't screaming like she's getting sexually assaulted by Heidenreich. Bitch looks like she was in a How to Train Your Dragon series. That shit that was on, I think, Cartoon Network. Jesus Christ. Rhea Ripley did lose the championship. There was forearms, stiff forearms. There was a big boot off the outside. Rhea Ripley to Charlotte Flair. That was the boot. Riptide only got a near fall, but that was earlier in the matchup. She couldn't even do it again. Figure 8. There was a spear that looked so sluggish. It ended off Figure 8 playing a factor again with her handstand and shit. And Charlotte became NXT Women's Championship. What is this supposed to do? The main roster superstar have won a developmental championship? I guess that's supposed to spill up some prestige in the title for a woman that already won the belt. You could have just built up that Charlotte Flair is trying to make herself her own legend, and she should be challenging like Hall of Famers at WrestleMania, other than some developmental bitch that obviously had too much time on her hands. They even got some of the more popular women in the roster now. They got Shayna Baszler. They have Bianca Belair that showed up in the Street Profits Tag Team title defense later in the night. And they, of course, have Rhea Ripley losing against Charlotte. And Austin Theory, but no one cares about Austin Theory. Okay match to start up the show, but it should have went on later. Because they were at least trying to foreshadow this, and this is at least one of the more built-up matches. Next up was Bobby Lashley and Aleister Black. Why was this a thing? And I think this is the only WrestleMania that we had any backstage segments to foreshadow anything, or at least have at least a source of entertainment. Because that at least made WrestleMania felt like WrestleMania, the grandeur, the superstars. Nothing was just Stephanie McMahon just opening us into the show, saying, "It's grateful times. I know I should let these guys take an extended vacation because there's a pandemic going on. The dumbest thing I can do is let these guys go on shirtless, wear less clothes, and beat the shit out of each other, causing each other to be sick." Oh my fucking god. No wonder Roman Reigns was in here. And you can see the problem. Oh god, Aleister Black wrestled Bobby Lashley. He come around with his weird-ass tights, and I think he was trending on Twitter for some apparent reason, saying this was his 4th WrestleMania appearance, yet I think this was his 3rd. He appeared at WrestleMania 23 for the Billionaires Battle of the Billionaires. Of course, he was in last year's WrestleMania where he'd have been the Intercontinental title. He lost to Finn Balor, and now here he is facing off against fucking Aleister Black for no particular reason at all. I think Bobby Lashley just found Aleister's name offensive because literally it had black at the end, and obviously a black thing in the back of anything, especially a last name, was the storyline for this match. No, I don't even know why they didn't have he wasn't involved in the gauntlet match or did anything. Aleister Black was just beating up on black jobbers, and somehow Lashley just got involved to just lose off a black mass from a spear. A counter over Bobby Lashley pretty much taking advantage of anything unless Lashley gets a bicycle knee to the face at any time over the course of the matchup. No one really was that excited other than we haven't seen Lashley on TV in a minute. Other than what happened to the feud with Rusev and uh, probably troubles are an obvious reason why he's not being shown on TV or anything. Lashley's just feuding with Aleister, even though he's feuding with Styles or somebody. Don't know why. There's been a lot of substitutes and a lot of changes in matches and some parts of the show. We obviously had Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. At least this was a borderline storyline. It took massive amounts of build up to show like Mandy Rose building up a shoulda woulda relationship with Otis until Dolph Ziggler stole her, but then it was a sabotage of Sonya Deville for some apparent reason, and then what looks to be Ali because of the little circular light thing with the weird dumb hacking on the computer. It was just a dumb setup, just for Sonya Deville to now attend with Dolph Ziggler. So I don't know why she still associates with Ziggler. It's kind of dumb. It's just a dumb mesh of whatever the fuck they were planning to do. It ended up with Ziggler losing in a pretty match that ended up with him getting carted around the ring, beaten the crap out of, tossed around the barricade. So I think some part of the match, Sonya Deville came with a low blow. No, it was a distraction. Ziggler came in a low kick to the dick to Otis, and a zigzag. Mandy came, slapped the shit out of Sonya, so I guess that friendship's borderline dead now. We, of course, had a surprise kiss at the end. Obviously, I was marking out because I've been building up for a long time. Otis is over, and he makes it entertaining for me because he just reminds me of my youngest brother. And practically just a dumb rendition into a simplistic storyline with a basic ending. Or pretty much the opposite way that the Christian and Jericho storyline with Trish Stratus ended back at WrestleMania 20. But this time it's with a happy ending, other than a double twist that kind of fucks up with Jericho. Canadians, man. Other than that basic match, basic finish, could have happened in an Elimination Chamber. I thought they were dragging a bit more of the storyline until, they kept foreshadowing that the tech dude was going to get involved into the match, and obviously they're going to do more, I guess, involving him on SmackDown, so whatever comes your way next month, or next few weeks when we're back to basic attendance or something. These guys are losing 22 million on loss of attendance because of the pandemic, and yet they think the smartest reason out of bleeding all this money with no attendance coming in, people losing subscriptions to the network, that they still continue with this dumbass mania. It's just dumb. The WWE strategy is dumb. I know they're bleeding money out because the pandemic made them to cancel the XFL for obvious reasons, but Jesus Christ. But that was a fun moment. Next up, we had, of course, the last man standing match involving Randy Orton against Edge. And what had some cool moments, I thought the time Edge was hung up on some kind of among a ceiling above a table in some office room around the training facility, and it did an elbow drop. That was an intuitive move. An obvious elbow drop up top some kind of platform, and he did an elbow drop on Randy there. That nearly got both of them. The time, better recall of a reference of when Edge disguised himself as a camera guy back in the Hell in a Cell match against Batista and The Undertaker. That was cool. He became a camera guy. Obviously, Edge has history with being a cameraman, and ended up with an RKO, then another RKO that nearly got him to the count of 10. There was too much brawling, and especially with nothing to do and the crowd not getting involved. It doesn't feel that immersive other than these guys are just hitting and punching each other and chucking shit around a secluded area where all there is just camera guys following you. It doesn't have that much of an impact in many other shit, especially the Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano fight from, I think it was in the same setting. Other than that, it was an okay match. It ended up with a concerto to finish out the job after knocking out Randy with a sleeper hold. I don't even know why that's a consistent part. It's like the Judas effect. Like, don't you already have a plethora of finishers that you keep changing, and now you change it into an MMA style move? What's with veterans always doing that? Especially Brock Lesnar. He came from using the F5 a lot to just a Kimura lock. At least he has an MMA background. Jericho and Edge has bare little of that. Bare bones, any of that. Randy Orton just kept doing uh, just neck breakers, RKOs out of nowhere. They continue beating the crap out of each other. They didn't go off the insane route. There was one time Randy at least tried to do one thing dangerous using that kind of weight pusher thing and trying to toss it on Edge, and obviously he missed. He attempted a punt kick but failed one time when they were atop that thing, and obviously the punt kick is banned, so Edge was obviously going to win this part. It was at least good to point in a feud that at least had history, made sense, had numbers of build up, and you wanted to see Randy Orton get his ass kicked. So I'll give a plus in that aspect. Other than that, I felt that the match dragged in that part. Next up, we of course have the Raw Tag Team Championships on the line. The Street. Oh yeah, Gronkowski beat Mojo Rawley after night one, winning the 24/7 title for R-Truth. I wanted to fix that up. I don't really care. There was like a number of like actors we know jobbers couldn't appear because they don't want to fucking die, and it just ended up with just Rob Gronkowski not being 24/7 champion. Was that the most important part of the show? No. Was it entertaining? No. They just did it to at least do something. And after that, Titus O'Neil just took the job after Rob Gronkowski and Mojo Rawley left. So just Titus. Yes, the guy who kissed his own son in the mouth one time at Money in the Bank. And you're telling me that I have to look at this guy for the rest of the night. I'm sorry, I'm still disgusted about that, bro. I was watching the NBA Finals too, so that just had a bad taste in my mouth, no pun intended. Next up was a quick tag team title defense against the Street Profits, facing off against Angel Garza and late substitute Austin Theory from NXT, taking over for Andrade that's suffering a rib injury. And this match was meh. We had some knees to the face, too many screams of WrestleMania, because they're obviously the loudest people in the fucking building, for obvious reasons. Too many reasons. Too many reasons that you can't come close to me to even have a physical demonstration why it's an obvious reason. So, they lost after a splash. I think one time Garza had I think it was Austin Theory doing that dumbass neck breaker, and then it was broken up off that frog splash. And I thought Montez Ford wasn't going to compete because one time he was running up to do a plancha. There was a miscue thanks to Seth Rollins, and it came up to Austin Theory for not getting to catch him on time when he did a plancha, and he messed up and hit himself on the ramp. Luckily, he's okay. Thank God for that. But other than that, they were continuously trying to sell off moves and trying to give exaggerated expressions. And I hate when people ever think, oh, because you scream or at least have promo time makes you do promos. Simon Dean had a majority of promos back on Raw in the early 2000s. Do you think people remember a promo from Simon fucking Dean? I'm not saying that these guys are not entertaining to watch in the ring. They're not entertaining to watch in general. You don't want them on a TV show. You want Stone Cold Steve Austin on a TV show because you know his basic character motifs and behavior. And you think for real life you can hang out with him if you're a grown-ass adult or maybe a kid. I think, if you were a kid. Other than that, the Street Profits just had this basic match. After that, Zelina Vega and Theory and Garza came to post-match assault them until fucking Bianca Belair came, did a gorilla press, and then did her finishing move. Forgot what it was called, but other than that, it was cool to see Bianca Belair because no one gives a shit about relationships. All I know is Ford and her are married. That's nice for her. I think Big Swole is also married to Cedric Alexander from Monday Night Raw, so that's nice. That's nice. We're talking about relationships now. I'm not well cultured with that shit. Next up, Fatal 5-Way Elimination Match involving Tamina, Sasha Banks, Lacey Evans, Naomi, and of course Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. 27 title defenses, and you can't even remember half of them. Whoop-de fucking do. This match was one of the more forgettable ones, for obvious reasons. Tamina got eliminated quickly after being the butt of all jokes and kind of took it out as a wild card, even though she only appeared on 2 SmackDowns. What part of her made her a major threat than her former tag team partner Nia Jax that at least had a winning streak? Tamina just got fat and thought she was a major threat. I remember when she was managing the Usos. What the fuck happened to that girl? To the fat bitch that's just jobbing out and being the first one eliminated against a group of midgets. She came around, we had a bad reunion like you remember the fucking Divas Revolution of 2015. That barely anybody even knew. I think it was Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. There was another one involving Brie Bella, Alicia Fox, and something. I forgot. It was a dumb, forgettable faction warfare that made every woman look undesirable to watch on TV. I forgot even Sasha Banks was part of Team Bad in a minute before Tamina, until Michael Cole brung it up. And then Tamina just did an obvious super kick on Sasha. They came around shouting out "Unity!" and then immediately get beaten the shit out of. It's a split leg moonsault. The pop-up moonsault by Lacey Evans to get the win. Tamina was took it out quickly with everybody grouping up the pinner. Then the bank statement was put on Naomi to win the match, eliminate her. Like she was a major threat to be played against. Lacey Evans, Sasha Banks, and Bayley were the last people left. And after grouping up on Lacey, we got this. An accidental running knee to the turnbuckle hit Sasha Banks. And then later in the match, just a few minutes later, miscalculated. Lacey Evans came around and hit Sasha Banks with a women's right to get her eliminated. And then after something like that, not even hesitant to stop her, Sasha Banks helps Bayley after literally leaving her to die on Lacey Evans' behalf. Like, that's a bit of a twisted shit. It was a dumb thing. It was retarded storytelling after Sasha. He's like, they're gonna maybe make an excuse like, "Oh, I baited Lacey to think that we were about to break apart or something." It was just a dumb finish into a match, especially when we've seen accidental shit like that happen in tag team matches, and it ended up with guys like breaking up, and somehow she literally kneed her in the face, then left her to get pinned by Lacey Evans, and then helps her win the match. It was a dumb finish for already a dumb heel turn for Bayley. And a dumb thing like Sasha Banks being treated like a pawn when she's literally called the boss. Like, that's not even a title of a literal leader anymore. That's like the title of "you're cool." That's so retarded. I find it so dumb. Next up, John Cena against the Fiend in an anonymous Firefly Funhouse match. I think it got 6 stars. By I don't give a shit. I don't care about David. I don't care because his opinion doesn't matter in overall how it's going to affect the show. Because I thought that the finish there was no finish. There was no story other than John. Why didn't you get me over back in 2014? Why? Why? You're a bully, John. You're an egomaniac, John. It is the same decrepit, cryptic, dumb, foreshadowing little "This Is Your Life" segment. The only thing I marked out was they brought back the SmackDown fist, but thanks they couldn't bring in the real stage because they were in a fucking training facility. They just left it on the damn ground while John Cena came dressed as a prototype. Then he came dressed as his rapper gimmick. Then he got dressed for 2014 where all he needed was a shorts and a black t-shirt. And he came around with Bray Wyatt just fix it. Make me over. Get me over. I lost to a 50-year-old. Why? This ain't... And over all of this, John Cena came out with all these justifying things that he said. Like, I'm about to get rid of the most overrated, overprivileged guy on the main roster. I will obliterate Bray Wyatt. What part of that was obliterating Bray Wyatt? At least other parts of it was different. I didn't mind if they fought in the house, where you could at least play up to the gimmick that John Cena's a dickhead. But at least do something like that. This match wasn't a match. This is something you could have done on SmackDown, of all things, to at least foreshadow that Bray Wyatt's in John Cena's head. There's been manipulative "This Is Your Life" shit before, but that's against guys that had history. Other than the Elimination Chamber match that they had back in 2017, there's been no redundance of John Cena fucking up Bray Wyatt's career. It's not his fault that he consistently kept losing to Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, fucking Chris Jericho, fucking The Undertaker. That's not his fault. It's terrible booking and off his hands that he can't even captivate a crowd other than his dumb cryptic promos. And now he's the fucking Fiend. Technically, he still lost to the Fiend because of the other Bray Wyatt. Shut it. 1, 2, 3. And then we just cut off to Titus O'Neil, confused as fuck, and wanted to kiss his son again. Because of that bullshit. I didn't know what the fuck I was watching. Because I was just confused. I thought they were going to do something else. As soon as they reference at least, like, majority of the history of John Cena, and then he went completely AWOL as soon as they referenced WCW, for some particular reason, whether John Cena joined the New World Order or some shit like that. For no particular reason either. I didn't understand it because I don't get that much into wrestling in total because I'm just there for the story. I already know the history of John Cena. I even knew this guy was in Ready to Rumble from 2000. So, and Bray Wyatt come back talking to him like, bitch, John Cena like told you that you suck, you're fat, you used to be Husky Harris and be part of a group that I literally jobbed out. Then I have Adam fucking Blompiad that's on Wrestle Talk now. He's not on What Culture anymore. He said that women's tag, triple threat ladder, Owens Rollins, Boneyard match, Ripley Flair, Otis Dolph, Orton, and Edge, Firefly Funhouse, and Drew. It's not all perfect because it because it can't be, especially not now. But right now, this weekend somehow, #WrestleMania delivered. In what aspect? I'm trying to hold my temper in a bit of this. Other than the moment with Otis and Ziggler, none of this feels like a WrestleMania moment. Everything dragged, everything was weird, everything was dumb, and everything felt rushed. Most of the other matches felt rushed, dumb, and it felt like it had very little storytelling, other than Edge and Orton and Ziggler and Otis. Because at least those had compressive storylines that lasted for months. Drew hasn't shown up on TV since the night after Elimination Chamber. Rollins and Owens ended in a DQ before they restarted it by a ringing of the fucking bell. He didn't even hit him with that shit. And then you want to say that the Firefly Funhouse stole up the show. I'll still say that the Boneyard match, as much as that's difficult to say, was the highlight of WrestleMania 36. At least it had a match. At least it had a story. At least it had a basic premise that The Undertaker wanted to beat the shit out of AJ Styles for disrespecting his wife. What the fuck did the Firefly Funhouse match do? Other than just out of the fact that Bray Wyatt wanted to get over. That was practically it. There's been many storylines involving John Cena that were a bit more well-deserved, like his shit with The Miz. It came around with him having PTSD effects that he lost to The Rock at Mania 28. He lost to The Miz. His time he lost to Edge after the Elimination Chamber match. His loss against Batista. All this other shit holding him back. And that's how he broke up the little mind control from Bray Wyatt. From wearing NWO shit. And there's been plenty other, shit from John Cena that fucked up his career. Except, like, a little bit of a jab with his previous relationship with Nikki Bella. That I wouldn't even get in a relationship with Nikki Bella. That bitch looks possessive as fuck. I wouldn't even have that in my life. I don't date. Oh, God. And he's like, thank you to everyone at WWE who made it possible. There was no reason to make this possible. Had a full-on schedule that you could have backed up a bit thanks to the pandemic. And still WWE want to make this a 2-day fucking event. That's a huge double-edged sword. Wow. Adam's a retard. Oh, god damn it. It ended up with technically The Fiend beating John Cena with no ref. Just the other Bray Wyatt counting the pin. And that was it after taking an Iron Claw. Then I think Abigail... Sister Abigail to the ring. Because they were still in an empty ring. And then they cut off back to normal WrestleMania. Holy shit, that was a shit show. If anybody has any disagreements with how I've portrayed the Firefly Funhouse segment, please write it down in the comment section. Don't matter to me, man. I would like to hear anybody else's opinion on the matter. I think my brother found the segment entertaining. I have other people that have been DMing me or tweeting it that they thought that the segment was entertaining. That's all well and good. Just know they could have left that shit on SmackDown to at least teaser a match. I was supposed to get a match other than This Is Your Life segment. That was a glorified This Is Your Life segment. How did that feel like The Fiend was intimidating? Why didn't he do that to Goldberg? Why the fuck didn't he do that to Seth Rollins? Why only to John Cena? Because he only had one thing at Mania 30. Jesus Christ, man. Nobody did that to Triple H because Triple H doesn't fuck up people's careers. He actually makes them great. Next up, we have like WWE Championship main event. Drew McIntyre against Brock Lesnar. Now, that's been building up for a while. Paul Heyman has been putting up some terrific promos on how Brock Lesnar can execute it and thinks he's been assaulting him with a Claymore kick for a majority of the year. Probably Brock Lesnar will expose Drew McIntyre as this overhyped young mess and he's going to treat him like No, Drew McIntyre obviously lost. This counts Brock Lesnar's second WrestleMania loss in a row since losing to Seth Rollins for the Universal title last year. And the match was so rushed. It was so shit. It was just McIntyre getting the exact same treatment any other guy in the ring gets. Tackle to the corner, German suplex, a couple punches, German suplex, F5, he kicked out of the first F5 by 1. And it's like, oh, Drew McIntyre's a different superstar. He and a Ricochet where it took a few German suplexes, then an F5 to get rid of Ricochet. Now Ricochet's wrestling in fucking main event. Now we have fucking we have Seth Rollins losing to Kevin Owens. Like, finishers don't mean anything anymore. We understand Brock Lesnar's a more legit guy, so we can understand why finishing moves from him should be more threatening. But Jesus Christ, any other person eats up the Claymore kick 17 times. There were like 8 finishing moves in total in this match. This had no anything, and they just rushed it up because they were nearly at 11:30. I think it was 10:30 that the show was supposed to end. I didn't even know at this point because I did 2 days of watching WrestleMania. I don't wish that upon anyone. You think watching 2 days of Mania would be a dream, except they had a lackluster card. Almost everybody was sick, or didn't want to come, or fucking the show was gonna be a complete train wreck, and the only thing they had was Rob fucking Kowski as a celebrity. And he didn't even do much except win the 24/7 title. Then the second half of the show, he was jet. He was out. It was just kick out after kick out after kick out. Is that what you think every main event? Yes, we had matches like that before. Yes, we did, but at least it had a bit of something to spice it up. The Rock and Cena, yes, that was kick out heavy as well. So was Steve Austin and the Rock's matches. At least that had a borderline some storytelling in it. Like who was trying to outdo each other, who was more desperate to win, or at least it could be the borderline of one finisher playing a factor in a match. We had Roman Reigns bleeding for several matches against Brock Lesnar, yet Drew McIntyre finished in a couple Claymore kicks. What the fuck that makes that Roman Reigns? Or Seth Rollins? Or fucking Goldberg? Really? What the fuck was that? I'm trying my patience, man. I've tried nearly anything to make sure there was some likability in the main event. But people are like, finally, McIntyre. It's another person from full time that's bland as fuck, holding our world title. McIntyre, other than he looks great from several years ago when he looked like a Dutch girl, coming around looking like he raped a lumberjack. Raw. It's just weird. Seth Rollins, everybody disliked him as babyface because other than he was a good wrestler, there was no character in him until they brought up that him and Becky Lynch were dating. What the fuck is going to be there for Drew McIntyre other than he used to be part of a jobber faction? That's literally most of his documentaries or his interviews the time when he was coming up to face off against Brock Lesnar. Like, he could have been a more dangerous than ever. I beat Kurt Angle. I could beat John Cena. I could beat nearly anybody on the roster, and I could beat Brock Lesnar. It could have been a basic storyline like that. The match ended so abundantly, unnecessarily quick. There were so many dumb kickouts, especially McIntyre's kickout from the F5. A few minutes into the match. It was so agitating to see. In so many ways, I wanted to punch something. My brother was the first person to even try to get angry because he know how the matches that he did Brock Lesnar did everybody else. How Rey Mysterio took a couple F5s. Dominic could I think kick out of an F5 on 2 on the first attempt, and then McIntyre just kick out a 1 because they're trying to push him at least with McIntyre's at least his monster babyface now. And this match lasted like at least under 10 minutes. Over what happened other than the finishing moves that made this match captivating, other than people post up that he's the first English and Scottish born WWE champion. Yay. Congrats. Congratulations. I hope you're happy. Proud of yourself. Great. Have a cake. It's fucking amazing. It's great. I'm happy McIntyre won the world title. At least we get a full-time guy as champion. I'm at least excited for that. Other than that, I don't give zero fucks what happened. I don't give a fuck what happens later on. I'm just agitated at this point because I know damn well they weren't doing anything over the course of this. They just rushed up the finish because they know Brock Lesnar's simplistic ass moveset, and they just want to make this quick as possible just to end off the show on a decent note. That they had barely any matches other than day 1 that were nice. And I thought day 2 was going to be better. Because at least they seemed to have more stacked up cards and they had more people that were going to be there for the show. This was just dumb. This was just borderline dumb and a waste of time. But that's it coming from the DST show. Over majority of me ranting over terrible decision making, boring matches, and an overhyped match like the Firefly Funhouse. God damn it. WrestleMania gets a 4 out of 10 for night 2. Oh shit! Oh man. So that makes in total Mania 36 from night 1 and night 2 a 4 out of 10. Or a 5 if I'm happy. Probably a 5. It's just boring match after boring match, terrible decision making, terrible non-existent storytelling, unnecessary amounts of kickouts and screaming all over the night. The commentary was just bare bones. They barely had especially anything to say when it was the last man standing match. These two guys that known each other for years, and how much Randy Orton was aching most of this shit. And Edge was like getting pissed off and later on the matchups. When they kept beating the shit out of each other. They barely had shit to say, or even if it did, it was like a kick or a punch. Oh my god, he's gonna take that instrument from the weight room and beat Edge with it. It was dumb. The commentary was retarded, the guests were retarded, most of the segments were unnecessary, and the finishes were just dumber. If you think opposite, type it down in the comment section below. I'll be glad to read it. But other than that, that's my review of WrestleMania 36. Oh, shit. Huh. They didn't even do a Hall of Fame nomination because we know the Hall of the Hall of Fame ceremony that they do normally on I think Fridays, but thanks or Saturday, but thanks they couldn't do that. They're probably going to do that later or something. Oh my god! Say and last note. Oh my fuck, Rhea Ripley, you drive heave like a cum.
You like that? You like that?